What was the poster car on your bedroom wall? A good chance it was a Porsche 930 Turbo or a Lamborghini Countach. And don't correct my pronunciation about that unless you actually live in Bologna. Countach. But yes, the 911 Turbo, the 930, despite being surprisingly small, very scary and murderously expensive, is still absolutely the epitome of classic 80s supercar desirability. It's time for a ride around the block with Damien. This one's not in budget.
No, this might be a little out of...
I said $35,000, Damien.
We've added a zero, Stu. It's out of most people's range, but it's a bit of eye candy, so let's just go for a drive and have some fun. Yeah, pretty special car. It's
Yep. Look how tidy that is.
Yeah.
Oh, Andiol.
Yes, upgraded turbo, intercooler, pretty special. A lot of performance mods from Andiol, who were a race team in America. So. Yep.
You gonna warm it up?
Let's get it warmed up.
Turbo! I even remember how to shut the doors. It's a technique to Porsche doors.
Yes. This is definitely a little bit more intimate, but you look at home, Stu. I think
it's like a date.
Yeah, it is. This Porsche suits you. I think you obviously have an affinity with Porsches.
Well, I bought my 9th Porsche yesterday.
Yes.
That's not 9 at once. That's 9 over like
over
40 years.
Yeah.
But there's only been 1 or 2 air-cooled ones in there.
Okay.
Because I've had front engine, mid engine, rear engine. I've had air-cooled, water-cooled. Have I ever been in an air-cooled 911 Turbo? No.
Right. A first.
I've never actually been in one, and the Widowmaker, they are scary.
It is a scary car, particularly after the Audi, where we were just saying, with the way it puts the power on the road through the Quattro system, it just looks after you, takes care of you, whereas this doesn't. You really have to have your wits about you with these 930s, and this one in particular has got a lot more grunt than a standard car would have. It's just had a fresh engine rebuild, but some years ago, probably 20 or 30 years ago, it had a lot of performance upgrades put in it. We're not 100% sure, we haven't had a dyno tested, but somewhere in the vicinity of 350 to 380, which is a fair bit more than the normal 300 or so. You're looking at about a 20-30% increase. So
every Porsche Turbo feels more powerful than it is, because they're actually light, and the way it delivers the power, you go weight, boost, where is it, kaboom.
Exactly. When it hits, it really comes on with a bit of a burst, and off we go.
4-speed manual.
Yep.
Does that wheel need to be closer, or are you happy there?
No, I'm happy. Look, I'm not going to fiddle around too much. We're just going around the block.
Yeah, you'll have to watch those back wheels. It's so wide in the back. If you place it like a normal 911, you're going to be clipping curbs, and we don't want that to happen.
No, we do not.
When I say 911 Turbo, of course I mean 930 Turbo.
Either or.
We know what we mean.
It's an Australian delivered car. It was delivered in Victoria in 1985, which we're told is the last year that the 930 was delivered to Australia. After that, emissions controls changed. So,
gorgeous colour.
Yeah, white gold, which is sort of a champagne colour.
Vice-coloured.
Yes, and it sets off the burgundy interior quite nicely.
Now, I came in saying I want to review cars with a $25,000 to $35,000 budget.
Yes, and we're driving one with extra zeros on the end of that budget.
Okay.
But this is the star of our auction, so we thought we'd give it a little bit of a plug.
350 grand or something.
That's right, yes. But this is a particularly nice car. It's actually come to us from a vendor here in Sydney who we've dealt with quite a bit over the last year or so.
Why is he selling it?
Look, Stu, he enjoys the process of doing them up.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, then he buys another one and gets on to the next project. But yeah, he does beautiful work, and the car's come to us in incredible condition.
The ride's actually quite compliant. I like it.
Yeah. But it's had, all the suspension overhauled.
It makes you realise what good value is and some of the other things in your showroom.
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean, that RS6 would probably keep up with the 930 quite easily, but a lot cheaper.
traction control?
Non-existent.
It's one of those cars where you're just driving along, you're going, get away from my car, stay away.
Yes.
How about you and your Corolla? Rack off. Classic air-cooled sort of sounds, all those whirring mechanical sounds that you get.
And we're now in fourth.
Which is top gear.
Top gear.
And we're doing 1800
revs.
revs.
RPM at 80 k's an hour. So
the problem is it's geared for 300 k's an hour.
Yeah.
And it's got a 4-speed box, so they're really wide ratios.
Yes.
And it's a peaky turbo car that comes on boost with a big bang, so it's almost impossible for it not to fall off boost when you're changing gears.
That's right.
I feel really important driving around in this car. This is like when I'm sitting beside Mark, you know, I feel, makes me feel special.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm special or just special needs?
Maybe a bit of both, Stu. One thing I'll say for the old 911s is they've got good visibility. You can actually see out of them reasonably well.
It's actually, it's not terribly torquey, but there's a pleasant, steady pull of torque from the bottom end.
Yeah, look, it's still a relatively large engine in a extremely small and light car, I feel.
The ride's, it's actually a pleasant ride. It's not unpleasant at all.
Yeah, it is. You can feel it's an older generation car to the RS6 we're in, but it handles the bumps pretty well. But again, I think a lot of that's down to the fact this car's had its suspension rebuilt. And
incredibly good vision. A kind of awkward driving position though. The wheels sort of too low and too flat and too far away.
Yeah.
Has there been much interest in this one that you're aware of?
Early days, and look, typically with cars of this value, Stu, we find people play their cards close to their chest. It wouldn't be all that surprising if we don't hear from the buyer until the last minute.
Yeah. I've lost the back of a Porsche on this corner in the wet. Well, or had a big slide anyway. I would say I lost it, but
would have been an exciting moment.
I got a bit excited.
Yeah.
Righto. Tempting, wasn't it?
It was, but there's a big 60 kilometre an hour sign there.
About it.
Want to keep our licence.
Really sorry, viewers. You're going to go, what? These guys are lame.
Yeah.
You go, no, it can't be.
This is the wrong place.
It's an experience drive today.
Yes.
Seats are quite like the Audi we're just in. You're sitting on top of them, not in them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of wonky 911 seating position where your feet are offset to the left.
Absolutely, yeah. Very Italian. But then you realise that the front wheels are where your feet want to be, so there's not a lot of room in there. They're an impressive car, and I mean, you know, this model, by the time this car was built in 1985, it was already over 10 years old. And so, you know, in the 70s, this must have been super, super impressive.
Yeah. You have to remember my turbo that we also reviewed on the channel is 15 years younger.
Yep.
And it's a completely different class of car, isn't it?
Absolutely. They made some enormous strides in that time.
Yeah. There really is a huge difference going from an air-cooled Porsche to a water-cooled one.
Absolutely.
They're both charming, but it's funny, you know, you can buy a 20-year younger 911 turbo for less than half the price of this one.
Sure.
But that's not what it's about, is it?
No.
This is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
In this colour combination, with those lovely spats on the rear wheels, I love it.
No, for a collector, a 930 is the king of the hill, I should say.
Yeah. Top of the heap, king of the hill. Yeah. Oh, that was really fun.
I should mention this car's had an upgraded air conditioner, so if we wanted to stay cool, not that we need it right now.
A 911, air-cooled 911 with a working air conditioner?
With working air conditioning that actually puts out some cold air. So.
Right.
And he's put in a modern Becker radio. We were talking about radios earlier and what a difference they can make. Period style.
It's a... Cars like this are only just going to get more and more desirable.
Yeah. Well, you definitely get an experience from driving a car like this that you just cannot replicate with a modern car. They're just so well insulated from the road nowadays.
Righto, viewers. And thank you to the owner of the car for letting us drive it.
Indeed.
Without even us asking permission. Yes, as a teenager, the 930 Turbo was the dream car on my bedroom wall. Can you believe that almost 50 years later it looks just as good? And this one is extra special. Better than new. The period correct Becker radio, but with Bluetooth. and electric air conditioning that actually works properly in a way the original system never did, and sensible performance upgrades that don't detract from its drivability. And yes, in this understated white gold, a very, very tasteful car. I know this sounds like an ad, it's not meant to be. Shannons give me nothing except their time, for which I'm grateful, so thank you, Damien. Sure, this car is way beyond my budget, but rest assured I will be watching the whole auction online in a few weeks' time. Maybe you will too.